So now what I'm doing is I need to reorganize my force, get every platoon sort of in their own assembly area, rearm them, and get them good to go. Because right now my elements are spread out. Several of them are running low on ammo, and almost all of them have used their Panzerfaust rounds, so I just want to replenish those so that they're fully combat effective. My plan for the next part of this operation is going to be to reduce the administrative building area. And once that's secure, then I'm going to assault the second ceramic building, the white one. The reason for that is I need to be able to fire upon the front of the ceramics building, because I recall foot mobiles running into that building. If I'm unable to suppress all of the rooms in the building, then it's likely that my assault teams would take heavy casualties. So if I were to assault it right now, I would probably I'd probably have a firefight inside. And when you're in a firefight at close range, nothing really, sets you apart. Nothing really makes you superior to the enemy. It's just luck of who shoots who first. And when you have an enemy in there that's just strong pointing the area, then it's typically the defender that will shoot first. And I don't have enough charges. My pioneers don't have enough demo charges to blow through every room in that building. If I did have enough charges, if I had, say, two fresh platoons of pioneers, I could probably do it. But I just don't have that level of ordnance. So the plan as of now is to secure the administrative area using the engineer platoon and also a Panzer Grenadier platoon. And then while that's happening, I'm going to be forming up my platoons that are on the right by the ceramics building, the first ceramics building. I'm also going to be moving up my overwatch from the rear where the original assembly area was. Those guys are going to replace the units I currently have in the ceramics building, and they're going to become, that area is going to become the new base of fire and overwatch position. Now, just a few notes on what I'm going to be doing here as I reorganize my platoons. I'm putting them all into a battle position. Then what I'm going to do is, once they're in a battle position, I'm going to move one squad at a time to the IFVs to rearm and resupply. And the reason for that is you want to maintain security at all times. Even though we're reorganizing, you have to maintain security. If the other alternative would be to withdraw completely out of this area and then resupply the entire platoon at once. Obviously, that's not advantageous to the tactical situation. I'd like to keep the pressure on the enemy. Right now, it's been pretty quiet. There has been a few sporadic shots from the administrative buildings. I know that there are enemy there, but right now they're just hiding in wait, for the most part. Oh, and another important thing about reorganizing the platoons is that obviously I'm going to be bringing all of my vehicle support forward. The Fuchs trucks, the trucks that the engineers use, they're not going to be exposed to enemy fire. They're going to be endefilated behind the buildings. But the mortars of the Panzer Grenadier platoons are definitely going to be deployed forward now, because the ATGM threat has been neutralized, and it's now time to exploit that, use the mortar firepower to its greatest potential. And it'll be really useful for attacking the administrative buildings. I'll be able to properly suppress and I won't have to rely on the infantry alone. Right there, I'm just setting the vehicles up into a sort of a coil formation. Remember, the front of an armored vehicle should always face the enemy, or the expected enemy. You never want to put your armored vehicles with their rear or side exposed. If you can, always at the front. If you can't do the front, expose the sides. Never expose the rear. The rear of a tank, for instance, is very vulnerable to fire. And that's in great contrast. So, what I'm going to try to do here is, at the end of the first part of this video, I noticed that there was a ZU-23 truck on the ASR northwest of the factory compounds. I'm just going to try to interdict that ZU with howitzer fire from the engineer command section that's there. They're not very good forward observers. They're decent. It's about a 50-50 chance that I'll be able to hit the ZU. And to make matters worse, it's out of line of sight, so I'm not actually firing directly on top of it. I'm firing about 25 to 30 meters to its side. That shouldn't really matter because the kill zone, or correction, the kill radius on a 155mm howitzer is over 50 meters. So if the rounds land within 75 meters or so, it should be good effect on target. Right now I'm advancing my tanks to contact. I'm trying to draw some fire from these buildings. I'm actually pretty surprised that they don't have RPG teams here. So far there hasn't been any contact. I'm also going to call in a fire mission to suppress a heavy machine gun team. And also, with that team, I also spotted that one in part 1 of the video. When I reloaded the game, it changed it to an unknown symbol, unknown contact. But okay, right here, this building, I'm very worried about this building because there's heavy foliage in front of the building, and I cannot suppress the bottom floor of that building effectively, and that leads me to believe that if I were the enemy, I would put, I'd put an RPG team there. So, you'll see me a few times in this video just trying to figure out a way of suppressing that section of the building. What I'm doing here is I'm just waiting for all of the platoons to get organized to a battle position, so I'm taking the time to just preemptively suppress and engage all of the administrative buildings on the left flank of the AO. Perhaps the most important aspect of reorganizing is that the MG3 teams that are attached organically to many of the platoons will finally get a resupply of their ammo, because they only start with about 300 rounds, and I forgot to supply them from the get-go. So that is an issue. The MG3 is a very potent weapon, and I've been unable to bring it to bear.
Achtung, Aufschlag, kommen! Aufschlag, Ende. Abgefeuert. Kommen.
Abgefeuert. Ende.
I'm also worried about
Achtung, Aufschlag.
high-rise building in the rear of the administrative sector. It's the one which originally had an ATGM on it. It's likely that there's enemy in the actual building, and I don't really have the aim to engage that building. The ideal aim point would be on the MSR on the northwest side of town, but I don't want to separate my IFBs from my infantry at this time.
Abgefeuert. Ende.
Hoping to invoke a response from the enemy. When I'm suppressing their buildings, I'm hoping that they'll try to maneuver out of the buildings and I'll catch them in the open. There's always a chance that an element will take a risk and
Achtung, Aufschlag. Kommen.
try to maneuver out of the kill zone rather than just allow themselves to be suppressed and destroyed. You can see there in the background the spotting rounds landing for the howitzers. The effect is off target, and that's pretty typical of what you would see with, you know, a forward observer, which isn't a trained forward observer. You know, the artillery tends to be within the vicinity of the target, but not very accurate.
Achtung, Aufschlag, kommen!
But I have to deal with what I have. Deal with what I have. The main forward observer is in the rear right now. He's still in the original Overwatch position. I'm going to be moving him forward soon, but at this time, I'm still reorganizing everything. And just haven't had the foresight to do so yet.
Verstanden. Wirkungsschießen. Ende.
Pretty much dry on artillery now. I have maybe 15 or 20 more howitzer rounds, and the rest is pretty much expended. I have no air support left. But that's fine, because I've already killed the bulk, at least I think I have. I think I have killed the bulk of the enemy forces. What's remaining is probably a few scattered squads. And I'm not expecting to see any more ATGMs. I suspect that I killed most of the special forces. So my plan on moving up the left flank is going to be as follows. I'm going to pop smoke in the street. And then the engineers are going to bound across the street, use charges to blow through a wall leading to a 3-story building overviewing the large high-rise building in the rear of the AO. And the tanks are going to provide fire support. Again, I'm just moving one squad at a time. Purple tune.
Feuer einstellen! Feuer einstellen!
And I've had enough of inaccurate fire mission, so I'm going to go ahead and move my forward observers up. Also going to move up the original Overwatch platoon.
Verstanden. Feuer einstellen. Ende.
A lot of wasted ordnance there, about 100 meters off target. And yes, it's very good to have. It's very good to have my Panzerfaust supply replenished. I love using the Panzerfaust. They're just so damn accurate, and they're light, so they don't fatigue the squads that carry them, and they're just plentiful. You know, it's a good all-around weapon. It's like an AT-4. It's like a mix between. It's like an AT-4, except not useless, not incredibly inaccurate. Okay, so I'm now going to assault this compound here, this 3-story building directly in front of our view. This is a pretty risky assault because I'm hoping that the tanks will be able to suppress any contacts that fire on them. One section is in Overwatch, the other section is going to be breaching, and then the command section will follow after the breach team. The overwatching section will roll in after the breach team and the command section are in place. These guys here, these Panzer Grenadiers, they're going to be used to attack down the center of the administrative area. And in hindsight, what I should have done is I should have had them attack at the same time as the engineers, because the engineers are not very well supported here. Not well supported at all. So that squad begins to take small arms fire. And I rush forward the tank to provide some more smoke. And then I realize a major error that I made, which was I bypassed this building on the left here with the collapsed in ruins. I bypassed the building and I didn't search it. I cordoned it, but I didn't search it. I just forgot about it because it's such a foolish mistake. So I'm going to reverse that tank out of there before it takes an RPG to the rear, get my engineers into cover, and I'm going to suppress the contact, or at least attempt to. While that's going on, the Gebirjäger platoon has arrived, and it's sort of like the cavalry coming in, and we'll see why in a moment. So the command team made it across, and now, you know, I'm just assuming that the contact was, you know, is a minor contact, and I'm just gonna destroy it with, you know, my Overwatch element, with also support of the tanks. Unfortunately, when I begin to suppress that building, I open up, well, all hell breaks loose. Irregular forces from all directions open fire on the building that I'm in. And they soon gain fire superiority just due to the sheer volume of fire coming out. Man down. It's a sniper team firing on them from the rear, and there's at least 2 sections of irregulars firing on them from the front. And I'm still wary to put my tanks up. So that engineer platoon is completely unsupported right now. My overwatching elements don't have the means to support them. In order to bring the vehicles in to provide fire support, I'd have to expose them without an infantry screen. And the Panzer Grenadier platoon that is here is going to be quickly mustered, even though that they're not really done reorganizing. I'm just going to get them online, advance them into the tree line, and then push down the center with the intent of relieving the engineers that are getting fired upon from all directions. We have at least 3 sections of irregulars in front of the pioneers. Plus command elements. So these are the German Alpine troops that arrived a few moments ago, the cavalry so to speak. I'm going to rush them in. They're going to assault the building behind the pioneer platoon and then assault forward using the engineers as a base of fire. Across the way, enfilading fire from the high-rise building in the rear of the AO causes additional casualties on the Pioneer platoon. I think they were doing fine until that building opened up, and now they're completely outgunned. And without support, they're going to be compromised. So I'm going to use the platoon that just arrived to occupy the ceramics building. I'm going to use them to suppress the high-rise building in the rear. And now we spot a Dishka coming from the high-rise building. I have one man wounded, one man incapacitated inside of the building where the pioneers are, and the one man from the command element is also incapacitated. I have no recourse here but to advance my tanks into danger. At the same time, I'm going to attack down the center with the Panzer Pioneers. They're going to hopefully flank the enemy from the side and get fires onto them and in relief of the Pioneer platoon. And I want to call in a fire mission. I want to call in a fire mission on that high-rise building. I'm going to use the engineer platoon on the right. I'm going to use their command element. Hopefully they'll be accurate with their fires. If not, well, what can I do? There's not much I can do. I'm going to use the tanks in the center as well to provide cover fires. Meanwhile, the building in the rear is being assaulted. Pioneers are planting charges. They're going to blow through the wall and assault that sniper team that originally initiated the ambush. And on the left, the Gebirjäger have arrived. It's now time to assault. I'm going to grab some Panzerfaust and extra ammo from the trucks, and then move in. I also intend to get fires onto the enemy, onto the high-rise building from that position using the Gebirjägers. I'm going to rush forward one of their trucks to get their tripod-mounted MG3 deployed. That should swing the fire to our favor. So now what I spot is, you know that spot that I was referring to that's behind the trees, where I thought there could be an RPG team? There is actually the battalion command staff for the Syrian Special Forces. That is an extremely high priority target. And I can't really fire directly onto the contact, but I need to find a way to do so. So I'm going to take a risk and just rush my mortar forward. if I kill that unit, it will greatly demoralize the enemy, and they'll probably surrender. While that was going on, my pioneers used charges to blow up the 3rd floor of the building where the snipers were, and they are now destroyed. Meanwhile, I'm going to rush forward that pioneer squad to join the rest of their platoon after they clear the bottom floor of the building. In the center, we've made good headway. We've assaulted through the ruins without any interdiction. I'm now going to pop smoke and run across the street and occupy one of the first administrative buildings. The forward observers have arrived at the ceramics building. I'm going to rush them up to the top floor so we can call in a fire mission on that battalion headquarters. By the way, that battalion headquarters unit is probably in command of the entire enemy force here. It's the equivalent of me, basically, of my guy who's in command of the entire force. Except he's even higher ranking than a company commander. I think the highest ranking officer on the scene from my force is a captain. And now we're taking sniper fire from the administrative building that I'm about to assault. So I'm going to go ahead and suppress it. Now going to begin a general assault upon the high-rise building area and that surrounding compounds using the Gebirjäger platoon. And again, we spot the ZU-23 truck. Unfortunately, the forward observers aren't in position yet, so they can't splash over it already.
Abgefeuert. Kommen. Abgefeuert.
Overwatch and squads are engaging with small arms fire, which is a pretty bad idea, but the enemy doesn't appear to be aware of my presence, so it's not too big of a threat. The enemy battalion command continues to engage my Panzer Pioneer headquarters. Since the platoon headquarters is in danger, and because it's such a high priority target, I'm going to move forward my mortar in a moment to directly get fires onto
Achtung,
that
Aufschlag.
section of the building.
Abgefeuert. Kommen. Abgefeuert. Ende. Aufschlag, kommen.
Aufschlag, Ende.
The sniper that was firing upon me retreated to the courtyard of that administrative building, right into my Panzer Pioneers that are assaulting the flank of the building.
Verstanden, Wirkungsschießen, Ende.
Feuerauftrag beendet. Ende.
Now the ground is finally landing on that high-rise building. Once that building is suppressed, I can finally advance and secure it. Now that my forward observer is in position, I can finally knock out that battalion headquarters.
Feueranforderungen kommen.
So we have a tripod-mounted MG3 in Overwatch. It's now time to assault.
Feuer einstellen, Feuer einstellen!
I'm going to try to take out that ZU truck with a sniper team. So the enemy is attempting to egress from the ambush position at this time. I'm suppressing them with my overwatching elements, though. And while they're suppressed, I'm going to be assaulting with the Gebirjäger. Pretty simple attack plan. use squad bounding Overwatch online to advance the contact and destroy the contact.
Feueranforderungen empfangen. Ende.
Abgefeuert. Kommen. Abgefeuert. Ende. Aufschlag. Ende. Wirkungsschießen. Kommen. Verstanden. Wirkungsschießen. Ende.
The HQ is being engaged by the howitzers. At this point, we haven't seen many Special Forces squads. It's just happened to be irregulars that are remaining. I'm sure that there are still a few Special Forces squads, but I think I killed most of them in the initial assault onto the ceramics building. I'm finalizing the reorganization of my platoons on the right, because I suspect that the administrative area of the factory complex is going to be secure in short time. Once that's secure, I'm going to advance to secure and capture the forward ceramics building. engineers will replace them in Overwatch. Then the Gebirjager will assault the high-rise buildings and the surrounding compounds. Leaving the MG3 and the command element for the Gebirjager in the original Overwatch. Still sort of obsessing over that command building. It's gonna continuously, just gonna have this martyr unload its entire HE supply to that building, the little block of building that's remaining there. Because I've seen Syrian Special Forces survive all sorts of heavy ordnance, and I don't believe that the battalion headquarters was actually KIA. We're having sporadic contacts here all throughout the compound. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the video. I don't think much more commentary is needed. The rest of the video follows the same formula of bounding between buildings, establishing Overwatch, cordon and assault, cordon and search. Anyway, enjoy, and I'll see you next time.